Hey guys, what's up? This is Crystal from Dreams Gallery. I'm doing a painting tutorial for an office project that I just completed for a very busy and established cleaning company called Busy Bees Cochrane. We're doing an entire wall, 2 big canvases, and a hanging panel. There's 3 parts to this, about 18 minutes in total. If you're interested, paint with me. Now, this is sped up because it's quite long. You're more than welcome to slow it down if needed. Here we are starting with part 1. So part 1 is the bee. It's one of the bees out of 5 that I completed. Now I just want to show you that first of all I want to explain that what I did was I drew the bee out first, and now I'm just doing basically the background. So one thing I do want to explain is when I paint, there are a few very important aspects of when I paint and how you get so much depth with detailed paintings. The first is we usually start with the base. Now I start usually from the right to the left because I am left-handed. This is acrylic. I do like using acrylic for certain paintings. It really depends on what I'm painting. But for this, it is easier to use acrylic because it does dry, and there's times where I need it to be dry and there's times where I need it to be wet for blending. So doing the eyes, as you can see, and then the highlights. So using the white on top, it's still wet, so you're able to do the highlights, the shading, and then of course the top of the head. So I did the base. So as you can see here, this is the body now. I'm doing the base, and it is really just the shading of the bee. And then as I finish the shading, I start to do the layers. So it's all about layers as well. You're gonna see, so now I've completed the, just about finished the shading here. And then I'm gonna start doing the layers like you've seen on the top of the head there, which is mostly the hair. So after you finish the shading, it's typically pretty dry, and then you get into doing the hair. So right now, finishing up the shading, and then you're seeing the hair. And as you add the hair in, you can really start to see the detail come into play. Now, some of these areas, and we don't have the background done, so I don't really do the outline of the hair until the background's done. So you're gonna see that as we go along here. The base of the color is usually a different color than the hair, the second layer, because of course you want to see the different shades, the different detail of the hair. So yeah, we're just finishing up the hair now. Now with the legs, you'll see later on that I typically paint them after I've done the background because it's just easier. You have to do all that outline of the hair, so it makes more sense to do it that way. Now I'm doing the wings. So again, here's the base. Now you can do this with whatever you're painting, whether it's a landscape or it's a insect or an animal, whatever it is, there's layers. There's the base, then there's the detail on top, and then of course the shading. The shading is really, really important. So now I'm doing the outline of the wings, the detail of the wings. Now you'll see towards the end, once I finish the wings, that I'm gonna fade out some of it because there's areas where it should be darker and there's areas where it should be lighter. Towards the end of the wing is typically a little lighter. So I'm gonna fade it out. Now there's different techniques that I'm using here, and I know it is a little fast, but if you slow it down, you can really see that. So now I'm adding shading in. I know the bee's wings are a little cut off here just because I wanted to get as close to the painting so you can see the detail as possible. The wings are fairly simple and easy to paint, a little lighter at the tip there, and then you're going to see the shading here. Fairly simple. If you have a picture to go by, it's pretty easy, and I'm here if anyone ever has any questions, you want to paint something, I'm here to help. Now I typically do freehand once I'm painting. I'll draw it out first, but you will see here, it's all freestyle. I'm just doing detail of the wings, basically the veins of the wings. Okay, see, so now I'm using a dry brush with added water in the brush and then the original gray color, just to fade it out. When you do that, especially once it's dry, so keep in mind that the black is now dry, and I am just going on top of it all to fade it out in certain areas. I do this a lot in my paintings, and you'll see as we go through, even the background, I do a lot of fading out. Now here I chose to do the outline, or do the base of the wings, but I definitely go back after the background is completed and add in the hair, the detail. Sorry, the phone's going off here. And there's the detail, shading. It's quite simple. Now, there's always shading, almost always shading. So typically there's a highlight and there's a darkened area. You can choose which side the light is coming from if you were doing this freehand. I typically always have the highlight on the left. It's just a habit, I guess, but not always. So as you can see here in the legs and the bottom section, it is highlighted on the right side. And again, here's just the shading. So now we completed that base. Now we're doing the shading. And then the hair to overlay. So there's a lot of layers. Again, layers are very important when you're doing detailed painting. Again, base and shading. Now this is all wet, so I'm able to blend it quite easily, but there are times where I like it to be dry because the blending is a little different. It shows a different technique. If you try both, you'll definitely see what I mean in terms of which you prefer and what areas work best for that type of shading. Again, here's the hair. We're adding in that extra layer. There's another layer, see? So we did first the black hair and then we did a highlight of the white. Now I sped up quite drastically here. The bee it's really a repeat all the way down the body, and then I did, unfortunately, without recording, did the outline of the background. Now it was very simple and just going out around the bee. Now I'm doing the outline of the hair, and then the bee will be complete. And this took in total about 5 hours each bee. Now, as you can see, I'm going to come back now. We're just doing all of the hair on the legs and the rest of the body. I use a fine point, very, very fine brush for this type of detail, and if needed, sometimes you have to add water to the paintbrush with the paint so it is a lot more thinned out, and that really, really helps with fine hair. I didn't really use a whole lot here, but you will see with the background, I added in quite a bit of water. You'll see as we go on. See, now here I did the antennas after the fact because they're so thin and it's just easier to do it over the background. That way I don't have to go around those thin lines. And then again, shading. And we're just about done this bee. Again, shading, base, shading. It's all about the layers, regardless of what you're painting. Now adding more hair, more layers, just to finish it off. Okay, now we're fading in some white. White to blend out the blue. I chose to do blues, just tints of blues and greens, because in this room that these paintings are going, one wall is an entire mural of mountains and flowers. So I wanted to draw the blues in together so these paintings match. See, so now it's just white blending with the blue to fade out the blue, because now I'm going to change the colors. And that's it for the part 1. On to part 2.